Oklahoma.
Cimarron County, on the tip of the Panhandle, is the only one in the U.S. to border counties in 5 states: Kansas, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Oklahoma.
Ohio.
Ohio became a state on March 1, 1803, the first state to be created from the Northwest Territory.
Texas. Texas leads all other U.S. states in power generated by wind.
In 2023, nearly 30% of Texas's energy generation came from wind.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts is described in its constitution as a commonwealth, a term that carried an anti-monarchical connotation. During the English Civil War, the monarchy was abolished, and England's government was declared a commonwealth. Vermont.
When Vermont passed its first constitution in 1777, its area was claimed by both New Hampshire and New York.
Utah. Utah's state flower is the sago lily.
When Mormon immigrants to the area suffered food hardships, the indigenous people taught them to eat the bulb of the sago lily, saving the Mormons from starvation.
Illinois.
Illinois has about 27 million acres of farmland, covering about 71% of the state's total area.
Nevada.
Although nicknamed the Silver State, Nevada accounts for about 75% of all gold produced in the United States. Nevada's annual gold output is typically topped by the countries of China, Australia, Russia, and Canada.
Minnesota. Land of 10,000 lakes is no exaggeration, in fact, it rounds downward.
Minnesota has 11,842 lakes that measure at least 10 acres.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's lead industry was responsible for the state being nicknamed the Badger State. During the early 19th century, lead miners dug into hillsides and lived there, just like badgers.
New York. At one time, most of New York was covered by glaciers. Virginia. Virginia is named for the English monarch Elizabeth I, called the Virgin Queen. Connecticut.
Connecticut is called the Constitution State because some historians consider the Fundamental Orders of 1638 and 1639, written by Connecticut colonists, to be the first written constitution in history.
Delaware.
Reflecting the large number of animal welfare agencies in the state, Delaware has named rescue dogs as its official state dog.
Louisiana. In 1682, French explorers named the territory Louisiana for their king, Louis XIV. California. California has more national parks, 9, than any other state. Pennsylvania. The eastern hellbender salamander is the state amphibian of Pennsylvania.
It is also known as a snot otter, mud devil, devil dog, or lasagna lizard.
New Mexico. 1/4 of New Mexico's entire population lives in the city of Albuquerque. Idaho. Idaho is one of 7 states that harnesses geothermal energy for utility-scale electricity generation.
The State House in Boise is the only one in the United States that is geothermally heated.
Indiana. About half of Indiana's cropland is dedicated to growing corn. Roughly 20% of the U.S.'s popcorn is grown in Indiana. Rhode Island. Rhode Island has no government on the county level.
Responsibilities that are usually handled at the county level are taken care of by one of the state's 39 municipalities.
Iowa. A house portrayed in the painting American Gothic still stands as a tourist destination in Eldon, Iowa. Costumes are provided to visitors wishing to mimic the couple in the famous piece. Tennessee. About half of the land in Tennessee is forested. The state is home to more than 200 species of trees. Colorado.
Colorado was nicknamed the Centennial State because it was admitted to the Union 100 years after the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Arkansas. Arkansas is one of the few sources of diamonds in the U.S. At Crater of Diamonds State Park, the public is welcome to comb the grounds and keep whatever precious gems they unearth. Visitors find 1 to 2 diamonds a day. Alabama.
Amended some 700 times, the state constitution of Alabama is 40 times longer than the Constitution of the United States.
West Virginia.
When the area known as West Virginia split from Virginia during the American Civil War, some lawmakers proposed to name the new state Kanawha for an indigenous people. This proposal failed, in part because other lawmakers wanted to remain Virginians after the split.
Maryland.
Maryland is often called the Old Line State, a reference to the bravery of Maryland's line, or regiment of soldiers, during the American Revolutionary War. During the Battle of Long Island, a group of 400 Maryland soldiers held the line against 10,000 British troops, buying time for George Washington and the Continental Army to retreat.
Florida.
Florida has more than 1,200 golf courses, the most of any U.S. state and about 30% more than second-place California.
New Jersey. New Jersey's name is derived from the island of Jersey, one of the Channel Islands off the coast of England. Alaska.
Only about 35% of public roads in Alaska are paved.
Oregon. Spanish sailors were the first Europeans to see Oregon's coast. They did so in the mid-16th century. Michigan.
People who live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan are sometimes called Yoopers, a play on the initials of Upper Peninsula, UP.
Mississippi.
The name Mississippi is derived from a Native American word meaning great waters or father of waters.
Montana. Montana is the only state with rivers that drain into the Gulf of Mexico, the Pacific Ocean, and Hudson Bay, Canada. Kansas. Early European settlers of Kansas would burn the stalks of the area's abundant sunflowers as fuel. North Carolina.
North Carolina has more than 3,800 square miles of inland water. That's the third largest area of inland water of any U.S. state.
South Carolina.
In the 1920s and 30s, South Carolina advertised that food grown in the state was rich with iodine, an important nutrient for avoiding goiters. For a few years, the phrase, the iodine state, was added to South Carolina license plates.
New Hampshire.
The area where New Hampshire is today was initially called North Virginia and was later changed to New England. When Captain John Mason was granted a colony there, he named the place for his home county of Hampshire but died before he actually arrived.
Georgia.
Prison reformer and philanthropist James Edward Oglethorpe helped establish a colony in present-day Georgia, named for King George II, as a place where England's poor could make a fresh start.
Washington.
Helping 23 million people cross Puget Sound each year, Washington State Ferries is the largest ferry system in the U.S. and the third largest in the world.
Nebraska.
Unlike all other U.S. states, each of which has a House of Representatives and a Senate, Nebraska uses a single-house legislature called the unicameral.
Wyoming.
In 1924, Wyoming was the first state to elect a woman, Nellie Taylor Ross, governor.
North Dakota.
Rugby, North Dakota, is considered the geographic center of the continent of North America, though some dispute this.
Arizona.
Arizona joined the Union in 1912, becoming the last of the 48 conterminous states.
Maine.
The area that is now Maine was once under the control of Massachusetts. During the War of 1812, the Massachusetts Commonwealth failed to protect the District of Maine from British raids, causing the district's population to split off from Massachusetts.
Kentucky.
The presidents of both sides of the American Civil War, Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson Davis, were both born in Kentucky, about 100 miles apart.
Hawaii.
Hawaii is the only rabies-free state in the U.S. and has strict animal quarantining protocols to maintain this status.
South Dakota. Roughly 2 million people visit South Dakota's Mount Rushmore each year.